passed over there was just mind-boggling. So I would like to have the consideration of just bringing up maybe some flashing lights, just something to just stop these people. I'm just seeing so many people.
Well, we're not answering questions. We're not responding.
So that-
Public comment.
Thank you.
I will make a
Thank you.
comment. I went to the CAB meeting this week, last Wednesday. And again, I asked the sheriff, the lieutenant there, why can't you control the property? You can't control the speed out here. And he went into his little diatribe about not being able to do that. And I was remembering that in Oregon and other states, they don't own, the state doesn't even own a highway. It goes right through in front of somebody's property, but they have a designated easement, whatever it is. And the police control it, and the public works department takes care of it, and it's all private property, but the state still takes care of it.
Great. We're in public comment.
I know, that's what I'm doing. That's it, that's my comment. So just so you guys know that somebody's out there trying to get the police to do something about that. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, approval of any other public comment? Approval of minutes for October 17th, 2024.
I had a couple of errors in it that I have corrected. I changed it from George Boyd to George Boyce. And Story County, I spelled it like I spell Trustee Story's name, and I corrected that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually just listened to because I wasn't here, I just listened to the audio, and then I reviewed the draft of the minutes. And with the changes that Robin has made, I moved to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Review of bills and other financial matters. Review of transactions report. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Is there any public comment on the minutes? No? Okay. Review of bills and other financial matters. Review of transactions report.
All right, so this was a busy month for Sean. So there's quite a few transactions on here. I went ahead and left it separated so that everybody could kind of see each invoice and what project it went to, kind of keep that in line. So there was a total of $96,000 this month for expenses. Again, majority of that went to the roads. So he was pretty busy there. Finished 2 projects up. You'll see that in the net ops report. The Broken Spur project is done, and the Wilcox Ranch project is done. They were basically netted to 0 between the two. So right in budget. Estimated net operating funds. And then at the top portion, top third, there's the ongoing road maintenance. And the Broken Spur project's there, and then the Wilcox Ranch project. So we've noted both of those are closed and updated from there. And then on the transaction report, like I said, there was quite a few there for all of the Western Materials and the Sierra Rental, and then the typical invoices for the month, payroll, PERS, and then the workers' comp Q1 payment was due.
Well, where was the 96,000?
That is on, it's a combination of the net ops report, and it goes in the section where the Broken Spur project in Wilcox Ranch is. There's $67,000, $67,960.97. And then
Oh, lost here.
it's
Same
in.
number, I'm looking for the specific number.
So on this
Is
page,
the recorder you?
Yeah.
Okay, I just a comment, real quick, sorry, Mr. President. When I was listening to the audio, I noticed that the people on this end of the room, especially John and Greg, are not loud enough. So, and I know we have is it YouTube or? Yeah. So, and apparently I've talked to a constituent and said that we need to talk a little bit louder. You don't have to shout, but anyway, I'm sorry.
I'll try. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I knew that, but I was looking for the 96. Thank you. So that was the total end of that project? Broken Spur was 96,000?
No, the total for the month was 96. So it came to about 89. I think it was 89,000 total between, and then there was also the aggregate project. There was a little about 12 grand in there too. So there was the 12,147 for aggregate surfacing, 8,897 for Broken Spur, and 67,969 for Wilcox. And then we still have one invoice or one check to send out for Sierra Rental. And then we have flyers for the diesel. There was an ad placed for the attorney to reimburse, and then the normal monthly invoices.
And you said, are we going to be current with all our stuff to Sierra Rental?
Yes, this is that's
Because otherwise they're real picky about getting paid quickly.
yeah. So everything that was already due before the meeting's already been paid, and then this is the last one, and it's due in a week, about a week and a half.
Thank you.
And then we did get the discount from Western Nevada, so that we paid them.
Good.
Is that good? Any public comment? Get a motion to pay the bill.
Motion to pay the bills.
Got a motion and second, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're up to a discussion regarding review of invoices. And I asked that this be put on the agenda because there was some back and forth on this. And I just want the board to decide how you want to move forward. In the past, I think we just had the invoices at the table in case like a board member wanted to see it.
Right. I thought we agreed to that last time. We didn't?
I don't think the board actually motioned and voted.
We did not. No,
And
but
so I
everybody was in
said-
agreement.
And when you were gone in October, go ahead.
One of the things that came up with the audit is they would like one board member to review the invoices and sign off on them before the meeting. So don't need to send it out to the entire board, but one board member needs to be designated to review them and give an okay
On payment of bills?
on the invoices. On the payment of
Looks like
bills.
my responsibility.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Who wants it?
And the treasurer, it's the
It's
most
part of
like,
the
it's probably most appropriate for it to be, at
Pulled back.
least the,
Or the audit.
The audit.
The audit,
Oh,
Silver Serini.
the auditor for the yearly audit,
The state auditor?
the state auditor.
Oh, I can't get away with that. Okay, all right.
So that's one of the things that does need to be done.
So the issue at hand, and I don't know, are you familiar with this, Nevada? I don't know if you were here when we talked about it before, but.
I don't.
Okay, so now it's going back and forth. The invoices are at the table, like if we're doing the transaction report and you got a question, you say, I want to see that Sierra Rental bill, right? They have it and they can show it to you. But at times, most of the time, I think over the last year and a half, they've been posted in like the packet that the board gets and what's sent out to the public. Past practice was, it was just at the table if somebody wanted to reference it. So what I'm asking the board is, what do you want to do moving forward? Do you want to just go to past practice? They're here if somebody wants to see it. A member of the public could actually ask to see it. Or do we want to keep blasting them out?
We came to kind of an agreement last time.
what last time, what
Yeah,
meeting?
last meeting.
The October meeting that I missed?
Yes,
Okay, because I have some things I'd like
Okay.
to share when it's my turn.
go ahead.
No,
No, I'm
okay.
all ears.
I don't need to see invoices necessarily for every time we get something from Sierra Rental, Motorola, Waste Management, and so on. But I've got this meeting and next meeting left. I do like to see the invoices from our independent contractors who we're paying big chunks of money to. Because, for example, when I was looking at Kathy Glather's invoice, there was two things in there that kind of jumped out at me. Assist SK on how to report special project summary, assist SK with future special projects, and aggregate surfacing reports. And so I see that and I go, well, isn't that Sean's, the operations manager's job? And so we're paying him and Kathy, and I want to know about that kind of stuff. I mean, if I'm having independent contractors that are, that we are paying extra money to, that's coming out of our budget. So I think those ones should continue to be easily accessible.
And are they not?
Well-
In the past practice, are they not accessible? You could request it.
Well,
as a
I just know I
constituent.
get them because I requested them from Robin, so that's not a problem. And then the question will come up, and it's something we can discuss with the attorney when we decide on who we want as an attorney, is how much of that invoice, because that was an issue with the other attorney that we had that, excuse me, was charging thousands of dollars a month. And we all were, especially, I was a member of the public at that time. And I was like, how can we be spending that much money on an attorney when this is such a small entity and there's not very much attorney work that really needs to be done, which is, I'll bring up again when we get to that agenda item. But so I think as long as the board is okay with getting access to them, if anybody on the board wants access to the specific invoices, I'm okay with it not necessarily being here, but it might be a question for the attorney when we hire him or her. Do we have to have it?
Question for you. Do you want specific invoices of what the attorney worked on as, for this GID group? Or what, are we gonna talk about this later at another agenda item?
Well, that's, since we don't have an attorney right now, but if we can talk in general about it. I think it's really important that the rest of the board knows. For example, when we had that very expensive attorney for a while and I was a member of the public, I didn't have certain pieces of information to know. There were 3 board members that are no longer on this board that were asking a lot of questions and every time one of those guys called up the attorney, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And if I'm on this board, and I'd hope that the rest of you would feel this way, you don't want everybody on the board or independent contractors or our operations manager calling up the attorney who has the right to charge. I mean, it's they have the right to charge for their time. So, we need to know who's calling or what, so that we can maybe put a stop to it. Maybe we have to put a restriction on it.
Well, knowing what the individual intent of what we ask an individual to do is very important. And until we get that information, in other words, an invoice from an attorney would have consulted with so-and-so about such and such, a little one-liner in there.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to be the complete memo.
I'm
Yeah.
totally with it, but
Yeah.
that's what you're looking for?
Yeah, well,
I'm just asking.
and I just want to reiterate that, because Pam's concerned is the board has access to material when they want it, and I agree. And to answer your question, in the past, I did see, per my request to Robin, every month of the attorney billing. And I went through it every month, which I think was evident in a couple of meetings. That I was
It was
doing
no
that.
fun.
So I think that's okay. I think that's great. But how do we want to move forward on the invoices in general tonight? How do we want to do that?
And I just want to add one thing. It's okay for me to send it to a couple of the board members, but if I send it to all the board members, I have to send it to the public. So that was,
I'd like to make it as simple as we can.
I like
So
simple.
My recommendation would be having a complete set of documents here for each meeting, for paying the bills, and each invoice is the individual or questioned by an individual, and you can show them the invoice. And
Okay.
it can be on the computer also. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be a piece of paper.
I'll
So
start
if
bringing
you
mine.
do a PDF of all those,
Mhm.
I think that is acceptable.
Are you sure? See, I can't.
Well, and
I don't want the written invoices here.
I always,
Just
I
one
have,
set.
I bring it. I've brought it
Yeah.
every month, so I always
Just
have it
one
here.
set.
Now, would you like
So I
one set
take
for the
that back.
public as well
I take
at
that
the
back. What we
table?
need is something simple. You have all the
Yeah, I
invoices
have it
here.
with me.
Mhm.
And should anybody wish to find, it's a public document, so if
Yes.
anybody wish to look at it, that's fine with me, but we don't need to kill trees just for the sake of.
We have the originals here.
I
'cause-
think you're fine with it.
We
Okay.
don't get enough questions that.
Okay.
And if you put it on the table, the first person that comes along is gonna grab it and then nobody else has it.
Now technically, according to the NRS statutes, I only have to provide one copy of each thing at the table. I know that doesn't work for our public, and so I don't do that.
Right, but the invoice is gonna be
Oh,
a
yeah,
big stack.
and it's
so-
a huge
yeah.
stack.
Well, you'd have your questions answered straightforward because you have that document, those documents here. in front of
Right, so
you.
if I had a question about it, all I'd have to do, or
And-
any board member had
Any
a
board
question,
member.
And then
or
I'll
any
send
member of the
them,
public, they could say, hey, I have a question about this. What exactly is such and such an invoice? Can I please look at that?
Right, so are you okay with what I suggested?
Repeat it and then I'll.
How about that?
Have the documents for all the invoices, number one, the documents for all the invoices will be at the meeting
Okay,
for that particular month, okay? Second,
you'll review them all.
I gotta review them all because I have to sign that now.
Mhm.
And so you're gonna see a signed document here that, yeah, I looked at all the invoices.
Mhm.
I am going to assume that when I look at the invoices and the numbers that I see, because I'm gonna get a PDF and a document that's got,
Mhm.
you know, a list of bills that we're gonna pay. I'm not gonna go through individually every one of the bills. And I'll okay that, but I'm opposed to me doing double the work that Angie's already doing, looking at all the invoices and putting it together in it.
Technically, they want you to look at all the invoices, the physical invoices. Now, we can scan them in and send them to you so that we don't kill a tree, but they want a board member to look at the invoices.
No, that's not required by state law.
Okay, they're just going general,
Not that I know.
accounting practices. That's what they recommended.
You're just gonna get the scanned that we used to out to the public and the board.
So I'll just send it to you and not everybody else.
because
Well,
you're
a
the
stack of
treasurer.
papers this thick is different than a stack of papers with 3 or 4 and all the invoices on it.
Well, I'm just going to send you a scanned copy of all the invoices.
I don't want a scanned copy of all the invoices. I don't need to
Okay.
do that. You're pulling up on what Angie's already done.
Okay,
So how do we want to do for the monthly meeting now? Okay, Greg, I get it. We're gonna have just what Andrea has tonight,
Right.
okay? And that's what we got. Are you comfortable with that, Pam?
I'm comfortable with that. The other issue that Greg has brought up is not really properly agendized. But if Greg doesn't want to do it, he can certainly delegate it to another board member. And I
I'm
would,
not sure I even have to delegate to
well,
another
if the
board
state
member.
auditor says we have to do it, then I disagree.
He
But
said
we
he
can,
recommended it.
But okay, on that, we'll agendize that next month and we'll do some more background on it
Okay,
and find out what the legalities are
sounds fine.
and what we want to do as a board if we want to follow that recommendation. Then it gives us a month to digest it, and figure out who's going to be the victim if somebody's doing it.
I'm all for making things as simple as we can.
Yeah.
No,
Anytime
and
people gotta spend an extra
You-
hour a day or 2 hours going through stuff, that's crazy.
you guys want to do a motion on that, or we just good? Moving forward,
I
just
think
go to
we're
past
good. We all
practice?
know- We have
Yeah.
directions
Okay,
to Angie and Robin, I think we're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we only did this because the past board, prior president wanted it sent out to all the board members.
I understand.
And so at that point, it needed to go out to the public as well.
Yes, that's true.
that's true, yeah.
That was the situation.
Another complication, another couple hours. Every time you do this kind of, I've been through this before. All right.
Any public comment on this?
The only public comment I have, my name is James Fiends for the record, it's just, if we're following the proper procedures and we're following the law and that it's written up somewhere, so if I come in one day or somebody else comes in, we're not having to have this discussion over again, we're just talking about what we have written down. And I don't know if we have that here or not, but I just want to make that public comment so that we kind of stay structured. And I can see that just listening in a short amount of time, we're going around in circles a little bit, but that's just my recommendation, that's all.
Much, I
Moving
don't
on.
want to say.
Report on the
It's too
status,
complicated.
report on the status of the PERS audit.
So we had a PERS audit. Well, it started about 3 months ago. They called us. We were able to wrap that up. There was only 2 recommendations, kind of similar to this. One of the recommendations is that we have a salary structure. So I've been working with the PERS gals to get that set up for us, so that we have that on file. Checked with other kids around the area, and they do have that on file.
So we have 2 positions and two
Mhm.
files that say these are the
Mhm.
ranges of.
Ranges of pay for
Very
each
good, thank you.
step and everything. So we're working on creating that. So I should have that finished up for the December meeting. But we did complete it. There was no issues. So in 3 more years, they'll come back and ask us for paperwork again. So we won't have to do it every year.
Any discussion on that?
None.
Public comment? You guys clued me in on this. Do we have to make a motion to,
Except, yes,
to accept it?
Accept
Yes.
it, yes.
Okay, does someone want to make that motion?
You want
To accept the PERS audit?
the PERS audit?
Or no, you have to accept the
the annual.
The annual audit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
So
annual audit, you have
we don't
the
have
PERS
to-
audit. You don't have to
okay.
accept.
Okay, moving on. Acceptance of the annual audit of the financial statements as of June 30th, 2024.
And that's just
That's
so
that
we are all on this, this is this
That's this packet.
document.
First off, both I and the president signed it. So I don't see, other than,
It just has to be on
The
record that it's for.
It just has to have a motion.
go ahead, go for it. Yeah, go ahead.
You have to say
To accept-
motion to accept.
To accept the audit.
As of June 30th, 2024. Very good.
I got a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any public comment on that, on the audit? No. All right, now judicial government affairs. Interview of Jerry Snyder, attorney at law for possible hire. And just, I'm gonna turn this over to Pam, but real quick, Pam and Robin worked on advertising and trying to replace our legal counsel. And I think they found 2 applicants who hopefully are here tonight. Pam, I'll let you.
Okay. We put an ad in the,
I did, Nextdoor, I did Facebook.
yes, in some social media
And social
ones, and
media.
I think as a result of that, we did get a letter that's in your packet from Jerry Snyder. Is Jerry Snyder? I don't see him. And what I did is I reached out to Jerry Snyder to call him and just ask him some questions and just get a feel for him and what he would be like as an attorney for our board. I also contacted one of his clients to see, a board type client, representative from that board to see how they felt he performed as an attorney for them. And interestingly enough, it really took a while for me to connect with Mr. Schneider. Normally when I call attorney's office, unless they're on vacation, I usually get a call back of some kind in a very short time, certainly not weeks. And it took weeks to finally make contact with Mr. Schneider. When I did talk to Mr. Schneider, I invited him to this meeting. I told him he would be on the agenda and that we would be discussing, interviewing him. The board might have some questions. He's not present. I will say that his client spoke well of him in terms of not overcharging, not, running up the bill kind of thing. Only negative comment is something I've just observed myself. The response time wasn't always as good. Because I hadn't heard from Mr. Schneider, I looked into getting an ad placed in the WRIT, which is a newsletter for Washoe County Bar Association, because I'm not actively practicing. I didn't renew my membership this year, and they told me only members could place an ad. So I donated to the benefit of this board hundreds of dollars because I became a member so I could put an ad in the WRIT. And as a result of that, we got a second applicant who is present here tonight, Mark Forsberg. And I did the same thing with Attorney Mark Forsberg. I contacted him. His office called me right back within a day. And I contacted one of his clients who also called me back within a day. And that particular client spoke very, very highly of Mr. Forsberg, talked about how responsive he was, how proactive he was, how, thorough he was, and felt, when I asked the questions, because I think I've already shown my cards as far as not wanting to get ching, 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 get the, how our attorney fees went from not very much to a lot of money. And I just was very impressed with both my conversation with Mr. Forsberg and with his client. What I'd like to do is, since we do have Mr. Forsberg here, he can introduce himself, and I would like any of the members of the board to ask him a question. And then after that, I think it'd be appropriate if there's any public comment that wants to be made, that people want to make, and then we can entertain a motion. But I do intend to make a motion to extend, an offer of some kind to Mr. Forsberg. Mr. Forsberg, you want to stand up and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mark Forsberg. It's nice to meet all of you. I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you. I've sent a letter in. I've worked the practice law in Nevada since 1990. I worked at the DA's office in Carson City for 13 years after clerking for a Washoe County judge. At the DA's office, I represented boards and commissions, planning commission. I can't even remember all different bodies that they have. I represented the sheriff's office. So I did that for 13 years in the civil division. Then I went into private practice, and that's where I gained clients that are also GIDs. So I have the East Fork Fire Protection District, which is a pretty big operation. And I have the swimming pool district, East Fork, which is much smaller and less active as a client. I also recently was retained by Kingsbury General Improvement District, and we're involved in a big litigation with another district over who's supposed to do what up at Lake Tahoe. So that's taken up quite a bit of time. I'm enjoying that too. So my philosophy in representing a board is to stay out of your business unless you need legal advice, or if I'm present to intervene if I see an open meeting law thing violation or something I think should be you should be reminded of, I would do that. It's not 100% necessary that I be at your meetings if it's your choice not to have me here. I think it's good for me as your attorney to see what's going on at your meetings so I understand your operation and your function and all of that, your philosophies about how to do things. So I think that's something I would prefer to be doing, is attending the meetings by on the YouTube channel. I guess I understand it's interactive. So I'm not sure, I guess it's not visual, but that's what I would intend to do, is attend that way. I can come if you request me to come for some reason where you think it's appropriate. I also suggest that you have somebody that's the point person for the district so that I'm not receiving calls from all kinds of different people. And if you have a point person, whether it's the president or an administrative person, I think that really helps manage the operation. I don't do any work if I'm not asked to do it. So unless somebody that's the point person calls me and says, we want you to review this contract, or we need advice on a certain issue, like I've heard a couple go around here already tonight, somebody calls me and tells me to do it, I'll do it. I'll send you an engagement letter that sets my hourly rate, and mostly it's just billing stuff that we send to all our clients. And I'm happy to explain all of that to you at the time, when the time comes. I have a partner.
Your billing rate is $365 now.
$365 an hour, which is, I think, I don't really know what it is in the market. I think it's probably below what most attorneys are billing now.
I just spoke to someone this morning that said that, just for everybody's edification, there was a third person that did actually respond to the ad. And I just spoke to her. We just got the letter a couple days ago. And
Yesterday.
I indicated to her what Mr. Snyder and Mr. Forsberg their billable rate was. And she politely said, well, I'm going to charge you a lot more than that. So unless they don't want to work for you, I'm out.
We have it
So
in-
thank you.
But yeah, I mean, that's my rate. I'm not raising it or lowering it for the GID. So happy to answer any questions.
Question.
Yes.
With all these others that you're representing at this moment, that you mentioned, will you be able to take on the GID with the ones that you have?
Absolutely. So
Got it.
I'll just give you a sort of the swimming pool district, I rarely hear from them. KGID is a one-shot deal on this litigation that we're doing. It'll be over, I think our court hearing on it is December 19th. Fire Protection District, I go to their monthly meetings, and I spend probably maybe 10 hours a month representing them, doing things, reviewing their agendas, so I have plenty of time.
Perfect, thank you.
I have a lot of other clients too. This is not.
Oh, absolutely, I'm sure.
Them I ignore.
Mark, I got a question for you. I see you're in Carson City.
Yes.
Do you charge, or are you gonna do this through like a YouTube channel, or we got the one Gizmo, we got the one thing that we still own over, by the way, it still works, I found out. The county used it the other day at the CAB, but that was donated to the GID, so we still got that usage if we want to learn how to set that
Oh,
up.
the Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do something like that.
Sure.
In other words,
I know you're talking about
$300
doing that travel.
travel time, because then it turns into a
No, I'm not gonna,
$1,000 a month, or $1,000 a month, because you get an hour and plus travel, and you add it all up, and it just comes out a big
Right.
bill.
well, So I think the way I would propose to do this is not to come here unless there's a reason for me to actually be present for some reason. For example, if there's going to be a lot of public comment, or I don't know, the circumstances that might arise where you think it would be helpful to have me here in person.
I understand all that, but I just,
And so I'm not gonna, I'll be doing this by the
Remote.
YouTube channel, or we can, somebody has a laptop, we can do it, have it sitting here and Zoom.
okay.
I could do
I
that.
love that idea.
Well, I
Will
just,
do.
yeah, like I said, we squeak when we walk, so.
I like that idea. Go ahead.
In the past, we've had attorneys on the phone, and sometimes it's been a little heated here, and he couldn't be heard to stop or do anything. So that is somewhat, unless you can really tie in, and whether it's on a cell phone, speakerphone or something, I'm not, and even he said that didn't work. So I'm just throwing that out there. It was really difficult in some chaotic meetings where he couldn't say a word. And that's when you're trying to need to be in.
Well, and again, I think you can probably tell when a meeting like that is coming up. I'm guessing. And so if there is a meeting like that, I'll show up, and that's what I'm telling you. For the most part, I think it might work pretty well if somebody had a laptop.
So I'm on YouTube right now, and it has the chat, so we can chat
Okay.
back and forth.
Right?
If
I've never
needed,
done YouTube. I've only done,
Yeah, and we've looked into the Zoom. If
was
somebody
just-
if they bought the account, then we can. I mean, I can do Zoom on my computer too, but the problem
That would
is
work.
they have the
I've got it
cost
on-
of it was pretty
Yeah,
pricey.
Zoom was outrageous for the
Mhm.
public, but I could set up mine just for you to do Zoom or
Yeah.
or Microsoft Meeting, Teams.
Yeah, I
I
can.
think
Yeah,
I can do any of those.
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe with
then
a
you still
little-
have.
Yeah,
a
and you
link
and
to
I
it.
could Zoom back and forth, and just you and I connect that way, and then YouTube can be separate.
Yeah, because I can bring you the computer and you can just.
Yeah, and this is just.
I think most of the time he doesn't need to be here present, but he does need to be listening. If he
I
doesn't,
agree.
yeah.
I agree.
And we need to obviously keep our voices up so that you can hear
Mhm.
as well, but
Yeah.
I think we can work out something either with Zoom or meetings.
Mhm.
So, and there might be some meeting where we know we instinctively know that there's gonna be a bigger issue of some kind, and we ask them to
I
come.
hope not.
I hope not,
Yeah,
but
let's hope.
if it happens once a year,
Oh,
that
okay.
instead of $365, it's gonna be, 3 times that. But that's compared to what we dealt with, or what this board dealt with, with the previous attorney and the amount of money we spent, I think it's very
So Mark, do you
affordable.
charge travel time?
I have never charged anybody travel time.
Thank you. Oh, you said the right word.
I travel to Minden all the time.
So if you need to come here, we're not out $1,000
No,
to do
no.
that. Okay, because I looked at different, we had that issue before.
Great question.
That was fantastic.
I still owe them a wait right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we know we need representation.
Do we have any
with
public
the
comment?
GID, so.
Any public comment? Go ahead.
Jan Mortensen for the record. I was very impressed with Mr. Forsberg. He introduced himself to me outside. He was very cordial and obviously wants to know people. So he's into what he's doing. Also, I would suggest that if you're going to hire him, that he be with the new board members. Once you get all the new board set up, that he actually, if you take him on, he actually is here to meet everybody.
I agree.
I agree.
I have a public comment. I dealt with him on the phone and asked for a letter. I received a response immediately, and he was just a pleasure to talk to and work with. And he did let me know he does have an office in his home in Reno.
I do travel quite a bit. I have family in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I spend time there, but I'm always connected when I'm there. I work from there as well. So, I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that could, if you call them up, can you just run out here for a second or something? That probably isn't what you want, and that would be difficult.
One more question. Mark, have you done, water rights?
I've done some water rights, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. You're familiar with water rights and stating that?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other public comment?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Is this your office, or is there another place that's your office?
Our office is her house.
Oh, okay.
This is just the general meetings are here, the TID has an office, and that's at my yard, at the equipment yard. And if there's anything that ever you had to have a meeting with the board member, we have a desk and stuff, and I let you guys are there.
Where is that? Is that?
It's over in the valley off of, basically, I'll just say Whiskey.
Whiskey Springs.
Pyramid and Whiskey Springs, it's pretty, yeah.
Should you wish, you could tour 92 miles.
Don't scare them off, Greg.
Anyway, there is a place for a formal meeting if you need it.
Okay. I wasn't concerned about it necessarily. I just.
And that's the physical address too, I think, for
They
things to
said
be
they were
mailed
sending
to,
me
isn't
to
it?
a shooting
No, the
range.
mail
Oh,
to
it's
is
the PO
pack
box.
and post.
It's the packing post.
Never have anything mailed.
Yeah, don't go there. They won't know who. They won't know who you are.
It's just recently got private.
Oh, they still got the big sign down at the.
They own the property.
Oh, I see.
One of our future board members is in the public. I don't know if she would like to make public comment at all, or if you have any opinion you want to express with respect to this gentleman.
Thank you for coming to notify. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That was Julie Osborne for the record.
So thank you.
Got another hand up.
So do we need a motion yet, or we?
No,
got-
we don't
have comment.
I just have a quick question, because if I was gonna get an attorney, I know his turnaround time sounds good. Is that so from the time that you do contact the attorney, is it written in the letter, is it a 24 to 48 time that you would be in contact back to your client?
It's never been in my agreement,
Okay,
but
I mean, I know that
If
you
I'm
got
not-
back with,
I'm not responsive. I'm easy to fire.
okay. Okay, and then also.
And
That's
then
well said.
And you are, again, aware that every third Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock, except for in 1 month when we have conflict, and then that goes to the fourth month.
Yeah,
And then
I'm
the
aware.
fourth week, excuse
I'm
me.
aware of that, yes.
And I also was wondering, because I know when you get it, is there like a retainer fee that you,
I'm not, I don't charge a public entity a
is
retainer.
that, okay, so that's my question. I didn't know if because of the committee, if you don't have to do a retainer, so, okay.
Private clients, retainers are really necessary
Okay.
because they come and go and they don't always honor their
Right. I agree.
obligations, but
That's
one of
good, and I-
the benefits of working for public entities is that they pay your bills.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay, makes sense.
I appreciate that.
Okay, can I make a motion now?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to, approve the, what did we say, contract or
Application to serve as our attorney.
application to serve as our attorney for the Palomino Valley General Improvement District? And, I look forward not to getting any travel time bills.
The attorney, you need to say his
Say his
name.
name.
Oh, yeah, I am, and to have Mark Forsberg, as our attorney, add that to the.
And then give
Anything.
approval, but to the president to sign the
And I
retainer.
move to approve I think you're way ahead of me, that's good. Move to approve that, John Patterson approved the contract.
I'll second this.
Okay, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very impressive. Very.
Thank you very much.
And we'll attach, the letter. of
And you can
engagement
noti-
for
you notify-
Once it's signed, I guess to the minutes of this month.
Sure.
Yeah, so everybody can see it.
And you'll get me that letter of engagement.
I'll send it tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Would you let Jerry Snyder know we hired the other guy?
I will.
Okay, thanks.
And he may respond or he may not.
And then, so you, just going back to that real quick, I mean, we're gonna use Mr. Forsberg, but there was talk about, so the attorney is gonna be on the YouTube, right?
We will use electronic communications.
For our meetings.
Where it works for the community and for the board.
Right, Pam?
Right, and then I agree with the suggestion, and I meant to say that, is that I think once we get the new board, it'd be important for him to meet the new members of the board in person
For sure.
at some point.
Yeah.
But we're on board tonight though,
Yeah,
that Mr. Forsberg, YouTube, attending our meetings,
Yeah.
right?
It might be Microsoft Meet.
Yeah, it could be another-
I can't
or
say what-
Could be another form, but,
Electronic.
yeah,
okay, you guys all understand that was part of it.
yes.
Okay,
We will allow that, yes.
so it's our goal now not to have 3-hour meetings,
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
you have 1 hour
So we
on
put
most
that cost
applications.
down.
We're all-
Yeah.
Unless you want to pay.
What time is it?
6:49.
Okay, road reports,
At 10.
road operations and maintenance reports.
Okay, well, you can see we've got a few roads graded. Oh, by the way, we have hired a permanent equipment operator. Obviously needs to get some more skills on grading our roads, but I believe he's got great initiative and work ethic, and he's gonna do good.
I met Andrew, talked with him a little bit, so I'll go back to work.
Well, what's his full name?
Yeah.
Is that a K-E-Y or a K-Y?
I don't know.
I believe
You're gonna criticize me on this, so K-Y, okay.
No,
No,
she's,
I believe
she's got it spelling because she's done the,
E-Y,
she's
no,
not spell Andrew.
before I do the minutes.
Anyway. And then obviously you can see we did a little over 6,000 tons of spreading of the E. And obviously we had to take a horse away. Started to do a little bit of maintenance with some of the E that we still have in the yard on Crazy Horse and Yellowtail. Still have a little bit of a couple areas to do. And I will finish the last section PO to the end with some DG from our yard as soon as we can get there. Other than that, that's unless you got any questions.
This is gonna sound like a stupid question, but that's okay. When Class E is something that that you've been using for a while, and if my memory's right, I think even maybe you and Larry Johnson, if that was the one who came up with the idea of using Class E as opposed to some of the other materials. And do you still use other materials besides Class E on some of
Depends
the
on the
roads?
road.
Okay.
And the elevation. Like when we'll go over tonight, the future, I have areas such as Turnell Canyon that are some of the highest spots. And there's no way I can use the E because it stays snowy and icy and slippery, so it has to have, anyway.
There's a lot of fine material. I deal with Class E a lot myself. And it's, they call it a reject base because it doesn't meet specs for gradations for county, city, whatever.
Okay,
So they just make it basically a reject pile, which this reject pile is 100% better than any of the other sources that supply base. So you're getting a really good deal.
because it's
And
less
it's a
money,
really
right?
good material. The only problem is, it just doesn't meet spec. It has a lot
Well,
more
it's a little
fine
clay,
material,
it's got
a
clays
little
in
bit
it
of
too.
clay,
so that's where the
and
stickiness
fines in
comes.
it. It's a little more fine material to where he's saying, it is slippery because of the fine material.
Well, the clay.
And the clay.
However, the
It is
thing
a-
about base and E, the base has way more rock in it and it ends up in the ditch. Whereas this, you'll still see rock, but it's not as much. So and then at half the cost, it really does.
Yeah,
go
definitely
up.
have the cost.
And one of the important things is, if you have a clay layer as part of the road, you want to put rock on it so that the traffic pushes that rock into the clay. So that gives you a better base. And then later on, maybe we can put type E base on top of it. But it has to do that in the correct manner.
Stabilization.
Otherwise, yeah, otherwise it doesn't get stabilized.
Okay,
Yeah, so, good
yeah.
material.
And then, I know we have a separate document, and I'm not sure if this falls under that. It's the monthly road,
That is an inaccurate report. It's not even close to being right.
and who, then tell me about this report, that,
Well,
Do you-
the problem is that when the request comes in, if you look at Grass Valley, there's 6 sections of Grass Valley. We gotta find out exactly what section it is. We have had grading on, say, Amy, and it'll say you need a request for grading on between James Ranch and Ironwood, which is pavement. Or we've had pavement pothole patching, but it goes in, it's just an R everywhere. We need to find in the specific section. If you've got a section on that list and you go through it, it says unpaved or paved, and which section that is, that's how you need to get it right. I gave some, I said, hey, this is the way it should be, but it's just, unfortunately, it's not accurate.
Can I add to that? Go ahead. I'm
well,
sorry.
I was just, I mean, the reason I think this came up, because I was a member of the public when this first started being presented. And I think what we were trying to do, the board was trying to do, and asking Sean to do, the operations manager, is there are members of the public are making road maintenance requests. And some of them go via email and it says road maintenance request. I've done it myself when I was just a member of the public. And it goes to the administrative assistant, and then and then you get a little email, the way it used to work, you get a little email that says, thank you very much, I forwarded your maintenance request to the operations manager. If you have any questions, here's his phone number, name and phone number. And most of the time, except when you were like a crew of 1, or there was a crew of 0, even for a big period of time, right? Because you were both unable to work. Those requests were usually filled within a month, okay? But not always. I know that there have been, since I've even been on the board, a few that haven't been filled. And I'm not saying they have to be, that's not, but I think it's a matter of
Sometimes there's my discretion.
there's all kinds of reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's important to have some kind of accountability of, where we track the road maintenance requests. Somebody might have a totally unrealistic road maintenance request, for whatever reason, but we keep track of that, and then keep track of how often. I mean, I know we have the monthly reports, and I think you got this future thing, so it's going to kind of overlap. But it's important for our public to know, hey, and we've had people come here about Quaking Aspen, and we had somebody last month, talk about complaining about the west side of the valley, not getting enough
That was
grading
money.
done or work.
That was money. That wasn't grading.
But they were complaining about not having work done over there. They say everything,
Money.
they come to the meeting and they look at the operation report and they look at everything and they say, everything's happening on the east side of the valley. And I happen to live there, so I'm not unhappy about that as a.
And I have $300,000 worth of projects that we've done on it. He didn't show up, so I can't give it to him.
I mean,
So-
I know
so-
there's been stuff done, but I think it's important, because I don't want, you don't need to be in a position where you're constantly, the operations manager is constantly having to defend yourself in a meeting. And if there's a way to kind of keep track of that and put it on a tab,
If you look at the ops report,
I do look at those.
I know,
right?
but
And
you see, when I do it, I say right-hand canyon, end of pavement to 3,300, okay, that's a section. There's 3 sections in there,
right,
okay, so that would have been checked off in 3 sections. The rangeland project, gray band to peak. Right now, I have a request for the entire thing. It wasn't requested from there. It was basically a section. So those sections should be fixed. I actually, if you look at Sage Flat, I had a request for Sage Flat. I went and graded it, but after I graded it, it says request. So it's in a reverse order. So,
So
I
we
have a
need-
question though,
You
Pam,
just
so we
finished
need
up
to
there
have,
in Grass
it sounds like
Valley.
we need to have a better document, maybe.
but I don't understand why this isn't sufficient, because all the
Well, you saying
requests
it's not
are.
accurate.
Well, the sections of road might not be accurate, but every request is listed on this document.
Right,
Mhm.
and it's not nothing personal. It's just-
That's
it's not-
why I don't
it's just not-
understand what we need to do.
Let me clarify, this was, I'm the guy that created this, so to speak. And at first Sean was like, are you kidding me? You want to add all this extra work and paperwork so that I have to report all this stuff? And, one of the things that we try to do is determine how we're doing. If we don't know how we're doing, we're not able to discern where we have flaws and items that can be fixed in terms of what we're doing. It's also a document that says, okay, we paved this road, or we put this Class E down on this road. And we did that in January of 2023. And, the next time we had to fix that road was all the way into June or July of 2023. You got 6 months worth of use out of that road before we had to go back and blade to do anything to it. So that gives us an opportunity to go back and look at and say, okay, instead of grading something every month, and there's many roads on here that you could grade every month, we're getting an extended use out of these roads. And what are we doing because we're getting the extended use is the Class E and other types of different things that we're doing. And this gives us an idea of what we did and when we did it. And it's a good tool for Sean. He can look at this and go, oh, well, we did that 6 months ago. Finally went bad on us, and look at the with better solutions, hopefully. So why I did this, so it was more something that we could look at historical facts and come with better ways to operate. You can't do anything unless you have facts in front of you to be able to make decisions about, and we never had.
But now I want to know what's your suggestion? Because 4
Well,
years
this-
ago, we didn't have this. All we had was the option for it.
Right.
Now we have this, which tracks for a year. And you can go back to the minutes of 23, and
Right.
this will be there for
And
a
that's
year.
where this, so where these are found, I just want to make sure I'm clear and the public can be clear, because it's not on the web.
It's attached to the minutes.
Well, it's attached to the minutes, so, because we have a separate place for for this, which I think is really useful, because then people can see what did they do last month, or what did they do, and they can go back that way too as well. It does need to be updated, there's a glitch. I actually go to the website occasionally just to see what's there, and I've already
Would
talked
you
to,
prefer this document be part of what Sean puts in there for the road report?
No,
well,
I
it
think
can be, it
it's
can
good
be,
attached to the minutes.
it's attached to the minutes, you don't have to put it two places. This is a separate place, because I think that's really useful. So I think I understand better and we're okay.
Because what I do, Pam, is, because a lot of times we'll get residents and they'll say, my road hasn't been touched in a year. That concerns me. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna look at this through January, then I'm gonna look at the December minutes of 2023, and I'm gonna look back on this there that goes back for that whole year, and I'm gonna say, oh, he's right. Then we gotta do something.
Right, and
Or
that's-
I'm gonna go, okay, yeah, no, it was done twice in the last year.
And I think that's
Yes.
important for us, each one of us of the board members to know, and the two new board members when they get on here to understand that. Because one of the things that does happen is that as members of the board, people come up to us and say, hey, my road hasn't been done in a year, like you just said. And I'm not in a position to, I'm not gonna call up Sean and, the operations, but it would be useful, and I can say, hey, I can look it up, and then I can point them to that. And if they still have a concern, then they can do a road maintenance request, or they can come to a meeting. And that's what I would encourage them
And
to
they can
do.
call me.
Or they can call you,
I mean,
yeah.
my number's out there.
Yeah.
There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. If you got an issue, let me know it. And if anything, we'll discuss it. If anything, if I think it's, it's just like 100 feet of a mile road, when you pull onto the road and everybody hops because they get on it and go really fast, it's like, slow down a little bit and I will get to the road eventually,
Yeah.
but it's not a
Right,
priority.
the beginning of a lot of roads are like that because people are driving too fast.
And I need to get mag on them and stop that.
And,
So we went through that
and,
section.
and just so it's clear for all of you, and Sean's aged with the accuracy is the sections of roadways. But
Okay,
if it's a road,
okay,
the
It's a
road
road.
that's on here,
okay.
it just
gotcha.
might not
All
be in
right.
the right section, like he
All right.
wants that
Yeah.
accuracy. But
The public doesn't tell me a section, and when I ask
But
them,
you,
they go, I don't know, I want the whole road done. They-
well, it's always gonna be the whole road.
Yeah,
whatever,
that-
and again, that's up to my discretion.
Yes,
What needs,
but
what
but
doesn't.
that's why the whole road gets put on there, because they say, well, the whole road needs to be done.
Yeah. but that's
They
not-
don't look at the sections, they don't
And
care.
that's fine if it's Hawkberry. That's fine if it's Crazy Horse. But when you have Amy, you got Amy North, which is 2/10 of a mile, okay? And it doesn't have pavement, it's unpaved. Everyone, you'll see the unpaved and the paved,
Yeah, I see.
right? So, and then you got Amy from Whiskey to James Ranch, which is dirt, or the E. Then you go James Ranch to Ironwood, which is paved. And then you keep going from Amy Short to Amy South, so there's a lot there that, there's not a lot bad. So, anyway,
We did our best
that's it.
to try to
Let's-
get historical facts from what
But
we're
anyway,
doing.
that's
So
just
we
my-
just covered A and B, right? We just covered A and B.
Yeah,
Let's take public comment, because we've been rambling on up here for a while. James?
AFB,
Jan Mortensen for the record, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, and this is, this is a really good tool. I would love to see for the public to be able to get this off of the website,
It's
and it
attached to
was
the
on
minutes.
there, yeah.
It's attached to the minutes on the website.
which is not a good place for it to be
that
for
was
the
my
public.
question, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Where do you want to put it?
Well, I want to put it front and center with road report, just so the public can see it and look at it and,
We'll agendize that.
okay? And then another thing, just for your information, Mr. Patterson, sometimes this is not correct. And I can give you, emails. But sometimes what's on this is not correct.
Send it to Robin.
No, I just,
And I apologize because for a year and a half, not a lot got done.
oh, I'm
Wait
not,
a minute.
What are you talking?
yeah,
You're nuts. I have been crazy going.
he has.
Hold on, let's finish the
Absolutely.
public comment.
So yes, Sean has been crazy, especially with only one worker and sometimes him not being. I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about the accuracy of this tool. However, I love this tool. I think it could be a good tool for the public to see and just,
I got it.
Any other public comment?
James Sweeney for the record. Yes, sir, great job on that. Needed data, historical data, it's always needed, not just now, but later on. When somebody wants to do something, you want grants, you want funding, you want some availability, not just your performance, but that helps spell it out, and it is good for the public. Wherever you decide to put it, it just, somebody wants to know and research a little bit about what's happening out there and know, so they can talk the talk. They'll know where to go without having to try to call everyone, so, thank you.
Well, when
Any other
when Kathy was dismissed, it turned into a real
Right.
problem. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Any other public comment?
No.
Okay, let's go to C,
Oh,
because I think we're covering A and B together.
no, we didn't, but that's fine. Oh, yeah, we did. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, we did.
We did.
Yeah, I just didn't see any money. so that's- what do we have?
This.
No, I know, I'm just looking at my time. Okay, well, in front of you, or whoever got them, is possible future road projects, okay, which has to come with Class C. Now, I will tell you, according to my normal aggregate surfacing, which there's 37, I don't have that, 37,000 left in aggregate surfacing. I'm requesting for minimum of 3 roads right now, but there's an extra 100 grand that could be used for that. And then as far as, and that would be for 3 roads, one that would tie in with one of the special projects, which is Quaking Aspen, so it should be done because you have to get the trucks on a good road before you get to a bad road. But as you can see, if you've got any questions here, just let me know.
So on, can I just say something? Go ahead. So on this one, are you asking us to approve money tonight?
It's future, it's whatever you guys
Okay,
want to do.
okay, no,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, I see this, but we're good tonight, we're not doing it.
I
Okay.
just, I've got, you wanted some stuff,
Yeah,
and I brought it.
okay,
And it can go, you can put off anything and everything you
okay.
want.
So just so the board knows, that I just asked Sean for this last month, probably, because he did it pretty timely. I had no intention of putting another project on the books tonight. But what I wanted was this list and some costs for the board and now the public to digest it. And at some meeting in the future, we're gonna agendize future road improvement projects other than the pavement that I'm gonna bring next spring. And then we'll have ample time for the public to look at this list.
Yes.
Come to a meeting once that's on the agenda and give us public comment, give us their feel on which direction the board should spend the money, how much we should spend, all those things. But that was the purpose of why this came up in October, so you guys know where this is coming from. Because Greg and Kevin, you guys were gone last night, so it's just kind of.
Yeah, I listened to the recording and read the minutes. And it was interesting because before I even read the minutes and listened to the recording, that was something I had on my list of things that I wanted to talk about during Haven's road report. Can I have a question for him on this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I put it away.
Quaking Aspen Road, O'Hara to, is it
I'm sorry.
Ansari?
And sorry.
Yeah, is that the area, because I know we got, that,
That's the worst area that when we had people that lived up there on that where everybody's trash cans are,
right,
it's just past that.
so it would include the area that we've had some requests.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the worst
Okay.
part.
Okay,
Is this the upper end of Quaking Aspen?
No, this is just after O'Hara, which is Larry Johnson's place,
I get it.
and then up a mile and 1.2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really just a horrible section of rock and rock and rock and rock, and gate and crevasses.
and do these are there any other requests that you've received? So that's not, that you responded to already?
What do you mean responded? You mean did the work?
Yeah, did the work, yeah,
Oh.
yes. Thank you. That's not on this list.
That's just a future or some kind of a form of building the road and getting it to an acceptable gradable level. The first couple of miles from Wilcox to O'Hara, okay, have been covered in 3 years, I guess, ago, if you look at your little map.
Yeah.
Right? And so since then, we've only graded it maybe a handful of times, and now we do have some rocks going through, and it's too thin to just grade, because then you start really bringing in all the native soil rock garbage that we lived with for years. So the thing has to be covered again in that section before we move up to the next.
There's one other thing that needs to be looked at seriously. And we're getting there, which is before we do a road, and you talked about this quite a bit, what do we do with the drainage? Because if the drainage isn't solved, and the water goes into a canal, let's say, and it gets the soils all wet, and you've seen that a lot, I remember we were talking about it, then we really haven't fixed the problem. We've put a Band-Aid on it that goes away quickly because it's just gets tore up pretty quick. So, in Ironwood, you guys saw where we did the drainage, cut the drainage away from the edges so that there's still plenty of flaws on that. But I want to try to make sure that, just as a FYI, that before we do these kind of things, that we take a look at the Sean about that too.
And if you guys have any other, Nada was here, but These are just roads. Obviously, Paiute Creek, we had a couple of months ago, there's some issues up there, and I said, look, we'll get a cost for that and look at that in the future. So that's on the list. Grass Valley West, we've had some issues over there that's been talked about at this table. So I asked Sean to put that on the list. But if any other board member wants to add a project to this list when we bring it back to the board, by all means, let's do that. So we get a complete list of what the feeling is here.
And if somehow we've missed it and there's a member of the public that wants to bring it to our attention, they certainly can too
Oh, hell yeah.
at that meeting, yeah.
I've been brought to my attention on bootstrap. And I get calls all the time about it, and I'm getting.
You can make good money by covering that.
Oh, well.
It's not our road.
It's not your road. It's not your road. However, this is where the problem is. I get several calls a month that it was approved for maintenance. And it's public record, it was approved. However, it was pulled out from them because of the private property.
No access easement
No access
needed to
road.
us.
Now, they're in the process of getting all those access.
We still have to, they have to bring it up to
It all
us.
has to be dedicated to us.
And we
Yeah,
still, I'm sorry, you as a board have
have
to
to
approve
approve
it.
it.
But I hope you.
But they're saying it's already been approved. I'm just saying, they're
No,
actually
no.
talking about having a contractor come in and fix it first. So it wouldn't be such a hardship on the GID.
Yes.
And it's still a possibility with 93 miles of road and 2
I
guys.
know, brother, I know.
So-
So it's just something I didn't want to bring it thorn up.
It is what it is.
No,
We
because
have-
that's one of the roads in the easement issue.
Right,
The,
it is.
Same
Same as Paiute Creek.
the parts of that, what Silver
Silverhorse,
Horse has a section on there.
Chieftain.
Chieftain, yeah.
Well,
So there's a bulk of roads that we gotta
a
identify.
general statement, we don't have the money to do the roads we got right now.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest
That's right,
problem.
don't we?
So that's
Well,
where
and so-
we're at.
you got
I
that
tell them
business.
that. Trust me.
I know. Well, I talked with the individuals at the CAB that talked about your road and the rocks all over it. And,
It's not his road.
But
That's
I
not
will,
my road. I
but,
don't, I'm not even,
No, he
I'm
doesn't.
not even
Yeah.
here.
but Nevada, I will tell you on the record here, and now it's on the recording, it'll be in minutes. If the easement issue is solved
Yes,
and we follow our resolution to re-accept a road, I won't hesitate to put that on an agenda.
there's one thing we're missing.
Hmm.
The road has to be brought up to a
That's the
certain.
That's the
resolution
resolution.
that I just
Exactly.
said. If that resolution is followed and the easement issue is solved,
yes.
this previously accepted road before the easement debacle, I would not hesitate to put that on an agenda and have the board discuss it as a previously accepted road and see what we want to do.
Because I don't have the answer.
And I think, well, I think
I don't
I'm
know what's
probably
done.
kind of giving you my answer right now.
I know you.
Well, what I had said was, sometimes it's just better off to bring material up and do the road that you have. Because the biggest problem with that road is just solid rock and they
Oh, I
losing their
know.
tires
I
and
agree.
stuff, so.
I just did 2 projects off it.
If-
Yeah, I get
but
it.
here's
You
the
know,
deal.
when I'm doing
It's a
job,
flat road outside of a subtle little hill. And they want, if you were to put base 4, 5, 6 inches on it, and then they just took care of guys in UPS that are gonna, and they could, hey,
I mean,
I'd be out there in their
No,
face.
okay,
I'm already.
Okay.
All right, any public comment on this last one? Hold on, behind you.
No, we're just gonna make a joke. Can we start that over again? Sorry.
No.
Yeah, we
Okay, Brett Giannotti for the minutes or what have you. So with the discussion of the possible future road improvement projects, would that be something that we could discuss maybe on and I don't know how difficult or easy it would be to put like wide speed bumps for
No.
the dirt roads?
Can't put speed, you can't,
No.
no, it's illegal.
Oh, okay.
And is it illegal to speed? Yes, but if I put a speed bump or a swale and somebody, then it's the GIG's fault. Can't do it.
I would
Okay.
suggest you get the sheriff to come out here and put put something
Speed
in
traps.
that gets the traffic under control, and they won't do it.
We won't do it.
Well, what about like flashing signs, like how they have,
Once they know, when I was in Italy, they know exactly where the.
Good.
Never mind. Okay.
Public comment.
okay, so what about, like the flashing sign that reminds us all about that new light that's on Pyramid Highway coming from, can we do some of those flashing things to remind people that there's horses out here, or what?
It's not gonna happen.
So-
Oh, I'm sorry.
So public comment,
It
since
is
we don't, since we don't have the actual retainer agreement, if you want to do this, or I'll just, public comment is an opportunity for the public to express concerns. They can ask a question, but it's not really a back and forth conversation that's supposed to happen between this board and a member of the public. So, we're hearing some of your suggestions. We heard some of them at the beginning. And it's possible that at some point, the president can put something on the agenda, or one of us can ask the president to put it on the agenda for a future meeting in which the agenda item might say something like a discussion. We could have a future agenda item. Or it certainly can't act on it right now. And I have some comments to some of your suggestions, but it wouldn't be for me or anybody else on the board to do that. And so just so you understand how it works.
Can they agendize it?
One of us can certainly it. So, but thank you for your public comment. If you have anything more, you
Any
get
other
3
public
minutes.
comment?
Well, just that it's not just about the wild horses. I've also almost been
Yeah.
hit while I'm on my horse.
Yeah.
It's just dangerous.
It's courtesy.
Yeah, it's courtesy, and it's becoming a more and more dangerous situation as more people move out here, don't realize that we actually have like these large animals and people on horseback, and it's causing a problem.
Thank
Any
you.
other public comment? All right, are we good with the road improvement stuff? We'll look at this in the future. And you guys know, we usually bring this up like in the late winter, early spring, and start talking about our project. It was the past practice, so.
For Angie and Robin, an estimate of how much we'll have available to do these smaller projects versus a large one, and whether or not we will eliminate a large project and do a number of smaller ones like this for a year, because we've had nothing but chip seal, and I've seen most of the money go to that, and maybe we need to start thinking about other folks' roads.
Well, you have about 595,000 as of now, but that's the number at this moment.
Well, no, you don't understand. What I'm looking at is how much do we want to spend on this versus how much is coming up for another bigger project that has to be done, and
Well, that's what the board decides,
Well, that's,
right?
I
yeah.
understand that.
But I can't move the
I
700
had
cars
asked
off
these nice
Whiskey and
ladies
Ironwood.
to come up with some dollar amounts that make sense. You said that's the amount. Okay, fine,
595,
all right.
due next August.
And this, I added this up, it's $211,000. If we were to
And that's
do all
not
those
including
things.
my $100,000 for a couple others.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah.
just
this is
going-
all I have in
Yeah,
front of me.
yeah.
Well,
that's because I
that's
did
the
a
point. You can-
Request.
You can go easily over the budget that we have on an annual basis, so.
All right, unfinished business, we have none. New business, renewal letter of engagement for assistant to the board, Robin White. So Robin's, letter of engagement a year ago, or just about a year ago, had a time ending date on it, per the request of the previous board or somebody on the board. So after seeing that, we obviously have to bring this back up to renew Robin so she can stay on as the assistant to the board in her current position. And I'll take any discussion the board has. It's pretty much the same parameters that she's under right now. Same cost, same job duties. So is there any discussion with?
Yeah, Pam Roberts for the record. I've been on the board since May, I guess, and I have one more meeting. I have found that Robin has been very professional, very responsive. And I think she's, she got this job during some extremely difficult times and somehow has survived. And she's continuing to work with Kathy and learn even more things. And I think it's gone really well. And so I'm going to move that we approve this new letter of engagement, but I'm going to ask that we amend it to raise her fee for services to $50 an hour. I think she's proven herself. And I think in light of what we pay Kathy and what we pay Angie, I think it would be, I think the best way to show appreciation for a job that's well done and we want to keep someone who knows what they're doing is to give them a raise. And so that's my motion, to approve it, but change it to $50 instead of $45.
I'll take public comment, but I'm not gonna, we can make that motion, but I think the $45 is adequate because we paid Kathy $35 when she was dismissed. And the bookkeeper's a little bit higher than that, as I think the bookkeeper should be. And I like the separation between the two right now. And maybe that could be revisited in the future in my mind, but I think the current rate is exactly where it should be. But I don't know if you guys have any input on that.
I agree. Is a question on that. Is Robin, is that gross pay per hour? Net?
Gross.
It's
Gross.
gross. Yeah, she's private, so there's no,
private.
yeah, there's nothing
Well, the
extra.
motion fails if there's not a second, so somebody else can make a different motion.
But if you guys,
Table it for now?
no, this thing's getting
One way.
approved tonight, one way or
Right.
the other, because we gotta have her keep working.
December
Public
6th is
comment?
my last day.
I'll take public comment. Julie?
Julie Osborne for the record. I do appreciate trustee Roberts' motion because we want someone who's doing more than an adequate job. And Robin does more than an adequate job.
Any other public comment? Is anybody gonna second Pam's motion, or I'm gonna make a different one?
You have to vote on that one first.
No, you gotta second.
Okay.
Motion fails.
Motion failed? Okay. My motion is to keep the current LOA as it was submitted for the meeting tonight by Robin, and that's my motion.
Second. So I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Was your price or your contract the same at 45 an hour as before, or was it raised?
It was
It's
raised
always-
after a probationary period.
Yeah, it was raised after probationary period.
Okay.
Oh, so it was raised once already?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So I'm not sure that we'll not necessarily give you a raise in the future, but I think that needs to be looked at on an annual basis, from the first hit, whatever, look at.
And I appreciate what Pam said, but I proposed 45. I was fine with that.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
You're doing fine.
Any other questions, Rick?
No.
I got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Correspondence.
Okay, on correspondence, we did receive all the files from the prior attorney. I have them on a little thumb drive. I'm gonna get that to Greg. I also have them all printed out in the file for this month so that they are available.
So you have them.
I have them.
Okay,
And Greg will have a copy on a little thumb drive. We received a letter from the auditor, basically saying nothing of concern. And we did a good job last year, and that was basically it, other than statements from the bank and that type of thing. And that was the communication we had.
In the correspondence from the one attorney.
Oh, yeah, that was yesterday, so I forgot about her. And the correspondence from the one attorney.
Mhm.
And she's too expensive.
Okay, calendar.
Okay, on the calendar, we have the new calendars out for next year with all the dates for the meetings. And I also have submitted to the Washoe County Parks our dates for the next upcoming year for the meetings. We did the EMRB, we did the QES, and we have to get the audit turned into the calendar.
In,
Oh, thank you.
Because we're not doing meetings.
No,
Okay. Board member and staff items.
I have some opinion, nobody does. Well, you know that, and I no longer can go to Costco. So we need to either agendize a visa. I did contact Wells Fargo, they got 0 for business. So somehow or another, we either need to figure that part out, or we might as well cancel the Costco thing, because we can't buy anything there.
What were we doing with that, Angie? I thought-
We're looking into another bill.
We had talked about getting into doing either a Visa or using the petty cash account. But we kind of just back in June when
and I
People
have
were
a petty
traveling, we didn't
cashier,
have
so we can.
But
we can-
what was the problem? Because I thought the board said, let's get a Visa card that you can use at Costco, wasn't that?
We needed a board member to actually apply
Somebody
for
has to
one,
apply
and
for
we
it.
were waiting for Greg to get back.
No. Greg, do you mind doing that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Greg will get a Visa card. Is that cool? Okay.
I just either that, or we don't need to have.
Yeah.
No, but we had.
Or
that-
I just won't get the.
We had that agendized and the board
Okay,
came
I
to a
just-
decision.
I
And
just
yeah, and so
started
we
needing
did look at a few and somebody
Was this approved by the board that author, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Any other board member and staff items?
I would like you to add to the agenda item about, the concern about both speeding on the roads and the risk of the wild horses and any potential possible solutions, to that problem.
Any other board member and staff items? Okay, public comment on matters not listed on the agenda, anybody?
Mr. Patterson, for the record, Lori Swartzoff. At the last Warm Springs CAB meeting, Greg came and gave a presentation on behalf of the GID. And I just wanted to let you all know that it was well received. And as a part of that conversation, there was a discussion about how the CAB and the GID could have better communication. And so it was my understanding at the end of that meeting that there'd be some follow-up. So I would just ask that perhaps there could be a consideration for that for a future meeting about how do we improve the communication here in the valley with more people about how the GID and the people who live out here in the valley can improve the communication.
Any other public comment?
James Phoenix for the record. On the horses, if you're looking at getting BLM, you're looking at getting Washoe County, you're looking at some type of social media campaign, you're asking them to come out and try to find out who the perpetrators are, who are doing these type of things, because you know your community, and a cop can go out there and talk to that person and try to deter it. It's got a, continuous effort. I know that it's never gonna go away, but at least we're doing something. Same with speeding on the road. I know we don't have a magic, meter that's gonna make them all stop, but again, just trying to, go at all aspects of it, trying to get the county involved, trying to get the NHPA involved, and trying to get somebody involved, but we're putting it out there to the people, and we know who those speeders are basically. But it's never, ever gonna go away. But if we're not doing more out of hand until something drastic happens. So those are things we heard at the cab the last time and a couple other cabs that I've gone to. So just looking at that, looking at the approach that we're just trying to find the big holistic approach to try to help solve this problem. So your idea on trying to have involved people that are involved, the key players that make some decisions, that's the way to go about it. So that was just kind of my public comment on those there. The next one is thank you for my first GID meeting.
Hey,
I
welcome.
haven't been to one before, and I need to get involved and find out how it works and what really goes on. So at the cab is where I got exposed to this. I never would have known what was happening here. I just thought maybe it was in one other district, and that was it, because I didn't quite know. But seeing the work that actually goes on in here, this is a good thing, and I'm glad that you guys are doing it. So thank you.
Still public comment?
Public comment?
When's the county gonna give us $900,000 a year?
Well, may I ask that? Just for, and so that's where we know it's probably not gonna ever happen. So that's why we know we have to find other sources and other ways. We can't rely on the government to give us money every time we turn it around.
Somebody back.
God bless America.
All right, anyway, into my public comment. Thank you.
Okay, any other
You
public
stepped in
comment?
that one. I gotta let that one go by.
Any other public comment? All right, someone on the motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
7:36.